The galaxy had one unbreakable law: do not provoke the humans. The warning was whispered by dead empires, carved onto ruined planets, and encoded into the stars themselves. No one dared test it for centuries. Until today. As alien war fleets surround Earth, humanity's last and most dangerous weapon prepares to awaken. A lone human voice crackles through the void. You've knocked. Time to meet who answers. The vault of warnings had not spoken in 1,000 cycles. Now, its cold metallic voice echoed through the High Council chamber on Concordium Prime. Do not provoke the humans, it whispered like a curse. The elders trembled. They had all heard the legend of the Vrax Dominion, the empire that had mocked that warning and was erased from history. But not all listened. On the edge of known space, the Carnik's dominion prepared. High Executive Rashtal stood on the bridge of the Blood Oath, his crimson scales catching the glow of distant stars. His warlords surrounded him, armored and sneering at the thought of Earth's supposed ferocity. They are myths, Rashtal growled, sharp teeth flashing. They bleed like any prey. The order was given. Lunar Research Outpost, orbiting Earth's moon, was a place of peace. Scientists, engineers, and explorers moved under the soft light of Earth in the distance. They never stood a chance. Carnik's warships punched through the quarantine grid with savage force. Drop pods rained molten death. Screams filled the vacuum of space. The survivors were dragged before cameras, beaten and bloodied. This is your warning, humans! Rashtal snarled as his claw crushed the life from a human officer on the live Galactic broadcast. We are coming for your world. Across the galaxy, silence fell. Then came the whispers. Do not provoke the humans. The message reached Earth. Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, within the classified command center of Earth's Strategic Deterrence Division, alarms blared. The code was clear: SWARD Protocol Omega. Activate the ESS Oblivion Fong. General Cashin, grim, Voss stood motionless in the darkened launch bay. The towering man's presence silenced even the battle-hardened operators around him. His black combat armor absorbed the low emergency lights like a predator stalking its prey. Voss stared at the feed of the massacre. Not a flicker of emotion crossed his scarred face. His second-in-command, Commander Ilyachin, approached cautiously. Sir, Carnik's forces have withdrawn. They broadcasted the killings across the Concordium network. They wanted to send a message. Voss nodded slowly, voice low as steel dragged across stone. They did. He turned toward the massive blast doors leading to the docking arm of the Oblivion Fong. And now they'll receive ours. As the dreadnought prepared for launch, Concordium diplomats sent desperate pleas. Messages flooded the secure lines. Do not respond. Do not escalate. Earth must not retaliate. Do not provoke further war. Voss listened to none of it. In the command center, Voss stood before his elite crew, every operative handpicked from the deadliest units across Earth. The Carniks wanted legends. His voice cut through the silence like a blade. We will show them what legends are made of. His gaze swept the room. They believe Earth is weak. They believe we forgot how to wage war. His eyes burned cold. We will remind them. The Oblivion Fong, a warship banned by every interstellar treaty, slipped into space under full cloak. Its hull, obsidian black, swallowed starlight. Its drives emitted nothing. It became a ghost. The first Carnik's patrol disappeared without trace. The second vanished in a silent flash of light. The third sent a panic transmission before it cut to static. It's not a ship, it's everywhere, we cannot track it. Silence. In the bridge of the Oblivion Fong, Voss watched the destruction unfold. His crew worked without words. Precision strikes. No survivors. No evidence. Controlled chaos. Commander Chen broke the silence. The Carniks are pulling back, sir. They're terrified. Should we let them retreat? Voss's mouth curled into the faintest ghost of a smile. No. They lit the fire. He leaned forward. We are the Inferno. The crew executed the next phase. The Oblivion Fong bypassed the Carnik's outer defense grid and materialized directly inside their home fleet formation. Total shock. In seconds, the ship unleashed kinetic rods at near-light velocity, ripping through capital ships like paper. Particle beams sliced through hulls. Escape pods vaporized. Across the galaxy, Concordium emergency channels exploded with frantic reports. The humans have deployed a ghost ship. The Carnik's home fleet is being annihilated. Entire planets have gone dark. On the burning bridge of the Blood Oath, Rashtal gripped the arms of his command chair as explosions tore through his fleet. How? How? A single transmission crackled through the carnage. Rashtal. The alien warlord froze. He recognized the cold voice instantly. I'm coming. As the Oblivion Fong stalked toward the crippled Carnik's capital ship, Voss rose from his seat, locked his helmet into place, and stepped into the assault bay. The Cerberus Mk9 assault armor, forbidden technology layered in dark adamantium plates and humming with deep crimson energy, sealed around him. The heavy blast doors opened. Without hesitation, Voss launched into the void. Inside the Blood Oath, panic reigned. Sirens howled. Warriors scrambled. Then the wall imploded. Through smoke and debris stepped the towering figure in black armor, eyes glowing with hellish red light. The Carnik's guards charged. Voss moved like a predator among prey. His fist shattered bone and scale. Blades ricocheted harmlessly off his armor as he systematically dismantled every opponent with brutal efficiency. In the central throne chamber, Rashtal waited, armed with an energy glaive, scales burned and scarred. You will die for what you've done, human! Voss strode forward. I already did. The duel was savage. Steel against plasma. Claws against armored gauntlets. Voss absorbed blow after blow, relentless, inexorable. Finally, with a deafening crack, he caught the Carnik's warlord's weapon, ripped it from his grasp, and drove it through Rashtal's chest. As the warlord gasped his last, Voss leaned close. You wanted to see human fear. His voice was barely a whisper. Instead, you found human fury. Voss activated his suit's transponder. Across the galaxy, every screen flickered to life. The image of Rashtal's broken body slumped beneath the flag of Earth burned into history. The message was simple. Do not provoke the humans. The Oblivion Fong hovered like a silent executioner over the broken Carnik's homeworld. General Cassian Voss stood at the viewing platform, helmet under his arm, gazing out at the burning wreckage drifting across the void. The twisted remains of the once mighty Carnik's fleet spun lifeless in the cold vacuum. He spoke without turning. Status. Commander Chen's voice was tight, controlled. Carnik's military assets reduced by 98%. No remaining command structure. Civilian transmissions pleading for mercy. Voss's voice stayed cold. Silence them. Chen hesitated. Sir? Concordium channels are flooding with demands. They say cease fire or face galactic sanctions. They've called an emergency tribunal. They say the humans have gone too far. Voss's eyes narrowed. Too far? They murdered our people on the moon. They wanted to test our limits. He slowly clenched a fist. They're about to learn we have none. The ship's comms panel chimed with a priority channel. Incoming message. Concordium High Council. Voss gave a sharp nod. Patch it through. The cold, clipped voice of Elder Jither filled the chamber. General Voss of Earth. This is not your war. You will stand down. You are in violation of the Galactic treaties. Return to Sol immediately or face unified retaliation. Voss waited, letting the silence stretch just a moment too long. Then his reply, low and brutal. Your treaties protected the Carniks. They murdered my people under your watch. You sat and whispered your warnings while they butchered civilians. You wanted to see if the legends were true. Now you know. The line crackled. We did not authorize this massacre. The Carniks acted independently. Voss chuckled darkly. Lies don't suit you, Elder. We intercepted your transmission to Rashtal. You promised them you'd clean up the humans afterward. We weren't supposed to survive the ambush. You wanted us wiped out deniably. Dead silence. Then Elder Jither's voice returned, laced with steel. You will not survive what comes next. Voss's gaze sharpened. We always do. He cut the channel. His crew stared at him in grim expectation. Chen's voice was low. They've declared Earth rogue. The Concordium fleets are mobilizing. All of them. Voss nodded slowly. Let them come. The ship's AI, a cold feminine voice named Spectre, spoke without emotion. Admiral-class armadas detected. 12 Concordium battle groups inbound. Estimated time to engagement, 30 hours. Voss turned to his officers. Send a message to Earth, code black. Activate Soul Defense Grid. The age of hiding is over. The crew tensed. No one had ever spoken of code black. It meant total war. Voss walked slowly toward the armory. As he locked his armor plates back into place, he spoke under his breath. They thought they understood us. They measured us by their standards. They forgot one thing. We are not like them. The Oblivion Fong turned silently in space and vanished into cloak. Across the stars, panic spread. Concordium War Councils screamed for strategies. How do you stop a ghost ship? A terrified admiral asked. No one had an answer. The first battle group never saw the Oblivion Fong coming. It emerged from cloak at point-blank range, unleashing kinetic rods at relativistic speed. Concordium dreadnoughts exploded into vapor before they could fire. The remaining ships scattered, trying to flee, only to be hunted one by one in absolute silence. Entire fleets disappeared without distress calls. Spectre reported clinically. 3 Concordium fleets eliminated. Minimal resource expenditure. Voss stood motionless as casualty reports from the enemy streamed in. They will double their numbers, Chen warned. Voss gave a thin smile. Good. More targets. The Concordium High Council gathered for an emergency meeting. Chaos reigned. Reports flooded in from across the sectors. The humans are systematically dismantling our forces. They are targeting fuel depots, communications relays, shipyards. We can't track them. They hit and vanish. The Supreme Elder slammed a clawed fist onto the table. They were supposed to be extinct by now. One commander, shaking, whispered the unthinkable. The humans are not fighting a war. They are exterminating our ability to wage one. Back aboard the Oblivion Fong, the final coordinates came through. Concordium Prime. The heart of the Empire. Voss stared at the glowing projection of the world rotating before him. Chen whispered. Sir, you're not seriously considering it? Voss's voice was ice. They declared war on humanity. They tried to erase us. I intend to return the favor. The crew made no protest. They had followed Voss into hell before. They would do so again. The Oblivion Fong burned across space toward Concordium Prime. The largest defense grid in the galaxy powered up in desperate preparation. Voss watched from his command chair. They will throw everything at us. Let them. Spectre's voice announced calmly. Concordium Grand Armada detected. 1,500 warships. Weapon locks engaged. We are surrounded. Voss exhaled slowly. Perfect. The bridge darkened. Alarms shrieked. The crew stood at battle stations. In the distance, the war drums of 1,000 alien ships began to beat. Voss leaned forward slightly in his seat. His voice was calm, lethal, and final. Time to remind them why they were told. Do not provoke the humans. The stars held their breath. The Oblivion Fong floated alone against the largest armada the galaxy had ever assembled. 1,500 ships encircled the Black Leviathan. Every caliber of weapon locked onto its position. Concordium Command broadcasted across all channels. This is the Grand Armada of the Concordium. Power down and surrender, human vessel. You will not survive. Silence answered. Then came the voice that sent tremors through the fleet. Voss, cold and calm. You're right. We won't survive. Neither will you. The bridge of the Oblivion Fang darkened as Voss stood, fully suited in his black armor. Spectre reported clinically. All weapon systems online. Targeting solutions locked. Dark matter warp core stable. Commander Chen stared at the impossibility before them. Sir, the numbers. Voss's voice cut like steel. Numbers never mattered. The Concordium Armada opened fire. White-hot beams, missiles, energy lances, kinetic rods, every weapon imaginable screamed toward the lone human ship. In the command center of Concordium Prime, Elder Jither whispered, "End this now." The War Council watched the barrage with grim satisfaction. Nothing could survive that. As the blinding storm of destruction converged, the Oblivion Fang disappeared. Spectre whispered, "Quantum Ghost Drive activated." The Concordium weapons passed through empty space. Confusion erupted. Scanners showed nothing. Ships screamed false contacts. "It's gone! No trace!" Then the first dreadnought exploded. A black shadow materialized inside the formation and unleashed hell. Kinetic rods obliterated heavy cruisers in perfect synchronized bursts. Railguns fired through multiple targets at once. EMP blasts crippled carrier ships before precision strikes vaporized them. Panic spread across the Concordium fleet. "We can't lock them! Our targeting arrays are useless! We're blind!" The Oblivion Fang danced through the chaos, a predator among prey, cold and methodical. Voss stood at the center of it, motionless. "Maintain tempo. No mercy. No survivors." The armada fragmented. Desperate admirals barked conflicting orders. Ships collided, fired into their own formations, or fled in terror. On the bridge of the High Admiral's flagship, the Ascendant's spear, the Supreme Admiral clenched shaking claws. "How? How?" Voss's voice came through the emergency channel. "You built your fleets on numbers. We built ours on survival." The Oblivion Fang appeared directly alongside the Ascendant's spear and fired at point-blank range. The alien flagship disintegrated instantly. Back on Concordium Prime, panic became despair. Reports flooded in. 80% fleet loss. The human ship is systematically dismantling us. The Supreme Elder whispered to no one. "This is extinction." The remaining fleet broke and fled. The Oblivion Fang did not pursue. Voss stared at the trembling projection of Concordium Prime. "Open channel." The galactic network crackled alive. Billions of species across the galaxy watched. Voss's voice echoed with icy finality. "We did not seek this war. You forced it upon us. You lied. You sent the Carniks to slaughter civilians. You betrayed your own laws. Your empire is finished." The Concordium elders appeared on screen, faces pale and defeated. Elder Jither managed only a whisper. What do you want?" Voss stared unblinking. "Nothing. We do not want your empire. We do not want your tribute. We do not want your alliances." He paused for one heartbeat. "We only want you to remember." He pressed the control. The Oblivion Fang powered weapons again, this time aimed at the planet itself. Panic exploded in the Concordium chamber. "No! Stop! Please!" The weapons halted. Voss let the silence hang like a blade. "Remember this mercy. You had one chance." His voice became a razor. "Do not provoke the humans again." The transmission cut. The Oblivion Fang vanished into cloak. In the ruins of the Galactic Order, species whispered the ancient warning once more. "Do not provoke the humans." Inside the silent command deck, Chen exhaled shakily. "It's done." Voss removed his helmet and gazed out at the stars. "It's never done. Someone always forgets." The return to Seoul was silent. No celebration, no triumph, only the cold knowledge of what had been done. General Cassian Voss stood motionless in the darkened command bay of the Oblivion Fang, his reflection barely visible against the void of space. The damage reports scrolled unread. The losses of the enemy were absolute. Yet there was no satisfaction. Only unfinished business. Commander Chen approached, her voice low. Transmission intercepted, sir. Concordium Council is broadcasting a desperate plea to all surviving species. They want to form a new coalition to strike back. Voss did not move. Of course they do. Fear is a poor teacher. They still believe numbers can save them. Chen hesitated. They've invited over 300 species to join them. They're calling it the Final Purge Initiative. Voss nodded once. So they truly learned nothing. The ship's AI Spectre interrupted. Multiple fleet movements detected. 78 species have pledged immediate forces. Combined strength estimated at 4 times the size of the Grand Armada. Voss turned, his voice harder than steel. Course correction. Take us home. The Oblivion Fong slipped back into cloak. Across human space, the signal went out, code Crimson. Humanity's last contingency. Across Luna, Mars, Europa, the asteroid belt, silent automated platforms powered up for the first time in centuries. The sole defense grid, long rumored to be only a myth, roared to life. Voss stood before his crew in the operations chamber. The lights of 1,000 inbound fleets flickered on the tactical map. The operators stared at the impossible numbers in grim silence. Voss's voice cut through the tension. They believe they are coming to destroy us. They are coming to their graves. His eyes scanned the room. Activate Cerberus Protocol. The order rippled across the solar system. From the dark craters of the moon to the icy plains of Pluto, hidden railgun platforms, kinetic killsats, and planet-shielding energy barriers unlocked. On Earth, the civilian population watched in horror as the skies darkened with the formation of the Aegis barrier. Chen whispered. They're really coming. Voss's reply was cold certainty. Let them. The first fleets arrived in the Kuiper Belt, sweeping in tight formations, arrogantly confident in their overwhelming power. The Oblivion Fong emerged from cloak within their ranks and fired the first shot. 3 dreadnoughts exploded before the rest could react. Chaos erupted. As the invaders scrambled, Earth's defense grid engaged. Kinetic projectiles traveling at near light speed ripped entire armadas apart. Plasma mines detonated with the force of small stars. Energy lances burned through shields and armor alike. Spectre's voice reported with chilling calm. First wave eliminated. Second wave advancing. Voss gave no orders to retreat. The Oblivion Fong weaved through enemy formations, tearing apart ships with surgical brutality. Commander Chen stared at the devastation, her voice hollow. Sir, there's too many. Even we can't hold forever. Voss did not flinch. We're not meant to hold forever. The crew stiffened. We are meant to remind them. Activate Nemesis Protocol. Across the solar system, human-controlled asteroid thrusters ignited, sending hundreds of massive rocks hurtling toward the incoming fleets at impossible velocities. The enemy scrambled to evade, colliding with each other in panic. Entire formations were reduced to glowing debris fields. On Concordium Prime, the Council listened in disbelief as report after report came in. Entire fleets lost. The humans are using the planets themselves as weapons. They are breaking physics. Elder Jither collapsed into his seat, whispering, This cannot be. No species is capable of this. Back in Seoul, Spectre's voice broke the quiet. Enemy forces reduced by 60%. Remaining fleets entering inner system. Voss stared at the tactical screen. Time to meet them. The Oblivion Fong plunged into the heart of the enemy advance. Alien dreadnoughts unleashed their full fury. Explosions tore across space, but the human ship refused to fall. Inside, alarms blared, hull integrity warnings flashed red, but Voss remained still. Keep firing. Chen turned to him, sweat and blood streaking her face. We can't survive another pass. Voss locked eyes with her. We're not supposed to. The ship's energy core began to overload. Spectre confirmed what they already knew. Critical failure imminent. Estimated detonation radius, 5,000 kilometers. Voss exhaled slowly. Good. He activated the emergency broadcast. Across all channels, the voice of humanity spoke for the last time in the battle. To those who stood with monsters, To those who sought to erase us. You wanted extinction. You will taste it first. Voss turned to Chin. Abandoned ship. Get the crew out. She shook her head fiercely. Not without you. Voss's tones softened for the first time. That's an order, Ilya. As escape pods launched, Voss stood alone on the burning bridge of the Oblivion Fong. Enemy ships closed in for the kill. He smiled darkly. Do not provoke the humans, he whispered one last time. The ship detonated in a cataclysmic burst, vaporizing the core of the enemy fleet. The explosion was so powerful it was recorded as an astronomical event across nearby star systems. The surviving Concordium vessels limped away, broken and leaderless. The human defense grid fell silent once more. The skies of Earth cleared. Humanity had endured. In the aftermath, survivors from both sides spread the story of the lone ship, the impossible defense, and the man who had chosen to become legend. Do not provoke the humans became law once again. On the ruins of the moon, Chin stared out at the stars, tears streaking her ash-covered face. They'll remember, sir. They'll remember forever. The galaxy burned with silence. In the wake of the annihilation at Sol, no fleets advanced. No signals were sent. No threats were made. Across the stars, the phrase that had once been dismissed as legend now whispered through every communication channel, every council chamber, every fearful fleet. Do not provoke the humans. On Earth, the memorial to the crew of the Oblivion Fong rose in solemn silence. No ceremony marked its unveiling. There were no words, no speeches, only the towering obsidian monolith carved with the names of those who had chosen to stand when surrender would have been easier. Commander Ilyachin stood before it, her uniform crisp, her expression unreadable. The wind tugged at the flag of Earth above her as she traced a single name with her fingers. Cashin Voss. General. Reaper of Soul. She spoke softly into the breeze. You told them you were not supposed to survive. Her eyes hardened. You lied. The solar system remained locked under the vigilance of the Aegis barrier, its colossal energy grid silent but active, ready. Across the outer rim, refugee fleets drifted aimlessly. The Concordium was gone. Its government collapsed under the weight of betrayal and failure. Dozens of former subject species debated war, peace, or surrender, but none dared cross into Sol space. In the scattered remnants of the Concordium Senate, surviving elders argued. We must respond. One shrieked. We must rebuild and strike. Others shuddered at the memory of the black ship, the impossible defense, the single voice that had spoken doom across the galaxy. Elder Jither, now frail and hollow-eyed, raised a trembling hand. No. His voice silenced the chamber. We tried. We failed. We paid the price. If we strike again, it will not be the Oblivion Fong that answers. It will be Earth itself. The debate died. Across 1,000 worlds, the new doctrine was formalized into law. The Isolation Accords. Under no circumstance, for no reason, shall any ship, ambassador, or agent cross into human-controlled space. Years passed. Myths became doctrine. The Vault of Warnings, the ancient archive of extinct civilizations, received a final edition. In every tongue, for every species, in every corner of space, the message was clear. Do not provoke the humans. On a quiet evening atop the cliffs overlooking the Pacific, Chin stood alone. The horizon burned gold as the sun slipped toward the water. A voice broke the silence behind her. Beautiful, isn't it? She turned sharply. There was no mistaking the tall figure silhouetted against the setting sun. The scars. The sharp features. The unmistakable presence that had silenced empires. Voss. Her breath caught. They said you died? Voss stepped forward slowly, eyes never leaving the horizon. They say a lot of things. Her voice wavered between disbelief and anger. You destroyed the enemy fleet. The core detonated. No one could have survived. I didn't. He finally met her gaze. The Oblivion Fong died. I did not. Chen's eyes narrowed as understanding dawned. Spectre. The emergency ejection sequence. You planned this. Voss nodded slowly. There had to be an ending. They had to believe it. A symbol has more power dead than alive. Chen shook her head in stunned silence. All these years you've let them believe you were a martyr? Voss's expression never softened. Martyrs don't start wars. Legends prevent them. She stared at him, torn between admiration and betrayal. What now? He watched the sun dip below the waves. Now I wait. Someone always forgets. Across the galaxy, whispers still echoed. Some young warlords and upstart species questioned the warning. They plotted, dreamed of conquest, believing the stories were exaggerations, myths born from fear. But their advisors always silenced them with one phrase. You don't understand. You weren't there. Do not provoke the humans. Voss and Chen stood side by side as the stars emerged one by one in the darkening sky. The earth remained silent, alone, untouchable, the ultimate death world whose people had defied extinction itself and emerged unbroken. As the night deepened, Voss spoke once more, the edge of a cold smile at the corner of his mouth. One day they'll test the boundary again. One day someone will cross the line. Chen's voice was grim but resolute. And then what? Voss's answer was soft, lethal in its simplicity. Then we remind them. The camera pulls upward, rising high above the two silent figures standing watch over a sleeping planet. Beyond the barrier, in the distant darkness, the galaxy holds its breath, dreading the day the warning must be enforced again. Do not provoke the humans.